Good morning. Good morning, Kay.
Good morning, Arnold. Good morning, Paul. How are you guys
Good
doing?
morning, Dr. A.
Good
Good, good.
morning.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody, to our episode number 30. And today we are officially starting the Nurses Month. Happy Nurses Month, Kay and Arnold.
Happy Nurses Month to both of you too.
You too. It's
And
it month.
It's
I was like,
Nurses Week again.
well,
wait.
we'll declaring it for the whole month because I think nurses deserve more.
I agree. If we can declare for a
Right.
year, best.
Yes, yes. So this month is for nurses. But anyway, hello everyone who's joining. Hi, Louise is joining us in LinkedIn. Louise, I wish I was able to invite you, but I was really running out of time to communicate. But anyway, we have many shows where we can invite our friends over. But Kay and Arnold, how is it going over there? It's quite gloomy and rainy, and it's flooding in some parts of Houston. Thankfully, not in my house.
Oh, I
Hi,
hope you're safe.
Jen.
Yeah,
Okay.
here
Uh,
here in Maryland, Washington DC area, it's been raining for the past day. So, good weekend. There's going to be a Filipino festival. So
Ah,
nice,
everybody in
nice.
this area, if you're watching early in the morning, there's going to be a Filipino festival later today. So join over.
yeah. Here in Boston, it was sunny yesterday, but then this morning it's been a bit gloomy, but and a bit cold too. And just like Kay, I think here in Boston, this afternoon we have an Asian celebration because of the AAPI month. So
Right, right.
yeah, for those who are in the Boston area, I also would like to invite you to maybe meet with me and have some Asian foods later this afternoon.
Right, right. Yeah, I forgot it's also AAPI month. So
Yes.
happy AAPI month to us three. And if you guys are joining us today, you can use the comment section to let us know where you're coming from. I see our friends over here, Louise and Jen. And today, guys, we are talking about one of the, I think, important things as a professional, also as nurses. Nursing organizations have so many benefits, and I want our followers and listeners to see the benefit, the value of why we need to join nursing organizations, especially for advocating for better workplace, better nurse ratios, better contracts, and stuff like that. But the other thing that I want to say before we start is I received a message from Anna. I think Kay, you got it too, that she's not able to join us today. One of our co-hosts, Nurse Anna, I think she is just barely coming home from work, right?
Yes, Anna, we're gonna miss you, but take care of your health. It's most important thing. Don't start your week haggard.
Right, right, right,
Take some
right.
break.
And it's tough to be coming from night shift. And Anna works in a, I think, level one trauma hospital, and she's
Uh,
OR. So I bet she was really busy last night. Hi, Anna. We're gonna miss you, and we'll see you next week. But we have Bricks today watching from UK. Khalid is saying good morning to everyone. Jen, it's also gloomy there. Where's Jen? I forgot where she's from.
she's based in
Boston,
Boston
right?
right now. Yeah,
Right,
we're technically
right.
neighbors. Yeah. So Jen, maybe if we can
Right,
go together to the Asian thing this afternoon.
right, right. And Cleotilde is also saying good evening. I think she's somewhere in Asia. And how was your week, Kay?
My week has been very productive.
Uh-huh.
I took a new role as assistant director for nursing in one of the big hospital system.
Congratulations. We love it. We love it.
Ew.
So it's a kind of a new thing, jumping into the other side of the fence. Been always a traveling nurse for 16 years,
Mhm.
always been on the nursing side, but I think it's time to bring in to bring that knowledge into the administrative side, so everybody will know what each one person will do and have a better understanding and I think better relationship.
I think you're fit for the position, Kay, especially with your advocacies. And hopefully, we shake the leadership and, change the way we think about nurses, that we're just not numbers, to fill. We're not just spots to fill those open spots. but we're actually nurses with emotions, with feelings, and we take care of humans as well with different
Yes.
emotions, with different backgrounds. So
It-
it's about
it-
time that we humanize the nursing experience and the recruitment process and workload and
yeah.
all that.
Yeah, it is very good topic that we're discussing here because I have zero leadership background or zero management background. But what made me put in this position or be accepted into this role is the topic that we're going to be discussing here. Joining professional organization. I I said I've never had experience with management. I just submitted my resume, and when they saw the professional organizations that I'm at, it was a big deal.
And okay,
Wow.
just I just would like to say, you said that you haven't had experiences in leadership and management, but having seen your advocacies and everything that you
Yeah.
do through LinkedIn, I've been actively following you. I can see. I mean, like you're very well suited for the position. I think whatever you're
Right.
doing is actually what leaders and managers are doing. So congratulations.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you,
think you're
Arnold.
you're already doing the job, even before you knew you were gonna do the job, if that makes sense. Because you're a leader in your own right, Kay. The way you pave way for international nurses to have, ethical contracts and legal contracts, protecting nurses' interests from human trafficking and all that. You are a leader in your own right. You're making your own dent into the profession, and I think you're well
Yeah.
suited to your current position. I agree with
Oh,
Arnold.
thank you, Paul. I'll send you all jacket. Send me your address.
Aw.
Give me one
I'm,
too.
I'm gonna send I'm gonna send you my address right now. Just kidding. Anyway, guys,
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
wanna yeah,
They're my friends. Thank you for. I appreciate your, your kind feedback on what I do, and I appreciate that it's, to hear that it's making an impact in a good way for our nursing profession.
right.
Thank you. El. So, let's start our
Yeah,
topic for today: professional
let,
organization.
yes, I want to officially introduce Arnold. He's been our guest in our show last year, but I always love to have Arnold here. He's such a great inspiration. I think Arnold, later you give the audience an overview of again of your journey to the US, of how you come to your position right now. But let us officially welcome our speaker today, Dr. Arnold Tariga, or Arnold is an internationally educated nurse educator currently based in Boston. He holds a doctorate degree in education from Central Luzon State University and a postdoctorate certificate in medical teaching from Harvard Medical School. He is a certified professional in healthcare quality, a certified nurse educator, and a certified nursing professional development specialist. He currently serves on the executive board of various local and national nursing organizations in the US. Let's all welcome Dr. A. Yay!
So much, Dr. Nurse Paul
Yay!
and Kay, for having me.
You're welcome. And Dr. A, give us an overview of your journey to the US and to your current, advocacies and your position as a nurse leader.
Sure. So yeah, well, I started as a critical care nurse in the Philippines way back 2008, and then
Mm-hmm.
I guess everyone is aware how challenging nursing can be back home, and I hope it has changed over time. But I decided to move out of the country in 2013 for better opportunities, both from the financial and professional side of it. So landed in the Middle East, and then I sort of started as a bedside nurse, and then eventually moved into leadership. But the leadership did not work out well for me, Kay. So um, at one point, I was demoted from a leadership position, but that was sort of like a turning point in my career because I then found my niche and love for teaching and education. So started moving into the education pathway as a clinical resource nurse, and then really fell in love with teaching in the clinical area. So that was when I started pursuing postgraduate education and certifications that's aligned to clinical education and teaching, and then eventually landed a scholarship in Harvard for the medical teaching
Yay.
certification. And then um, while I was in the Middle East, I realized that I wanted to do more, and wanted to explore more opportunities for career growth. And that is where I started joining Lifora. And like I've been following both of you as you've been sharing your experiences too, and a lot of our nurses who are in the US. and have seen that there's really a lot of opportunities here in the United States. So I processed my NCLEX, and then I'm sort of new to the United States. I just moved here in 2022, so I'm still trying to survive the cold winters in Boston, coming from the Middle East. Um, so yeah, I started as a bedside nurse here too, and then moved into academia. I taught for a bit in one of the universities here in Massachusetts, and then eventually I was tapped to work in the current role that I'm doing now as the director of clinical education. I'm helping internationally educated nurses as they transition to the United States. So I feel like it's a full circle of like being that internationally educated nurse wanting to migrate, and then now being able to help my fellow internationally educated nurses, mostly Filipinos, as they come to the United States. And in relation to what we're going to be talking about today,
Mhm.
I do serve in some of the local and national professional organizations here. Currently, I serve as one of the board members of the Philippine Nurses Association in the New England chapter. I serve with DrNursePaul in the Society of the Internationally Educated Nurses in North America. I also serve as secretary of the National Consortium of Academic Nurse Educators, and also a member of some national organizations here in the US. And I guess like later we're going to be exploring as to what are the benefits and the other things that is really I would say very helpful to and you know very important and for us to be joining professional organizations.
Sounds good. What about you, Kay? What nursing organizations are you currently a member of or serving?
So for the past many years, since I got here, the first thing I really joined was the OR nurse organization. It's AORN.
Mhm.
It's one of the largest, I think, organization because as everyone knows, that OR is a big department in every hospital. So we cover also the ambulatory, and I was also part of endoscopy association previously. After that, I stayed in the travel nursing. So I just stayed as the OR nurse. And I would say the professional organization that I really I'm attaching myself right now is just AORN. But when I jump into educating a lot of foreign nurses, I was very interested to attend those conferences and get oriented to the organizations that are there to help us. The first thing that I've looked into was ANA, American Nurse Association, as well as their local within the area. The second was Philippine Nurse Association. Um, they have a lot of activities and programs for international nurses, and they have a lot of fundraisings that I've been to as well. And I've been acquainted with Philippine Nurse Association since I was a kid in the Philippines because my aunt was a part of the Philippine Nurse Association of Maryland, DC. You know, kudos to the team there. Shout out to Christine Pabico. She's doing a great job. As well as ICN, I tried to join the Montreal. My first time to really hear of ICN before, so I jumped into Montreal last year and check what's going on, and I got acquainted with a lot of people in those organizations. And now I'm a part of the CGFNS. I sit as a board advisor for the CGFNS Alliance for Ethical Recruitment. And thank you also for Sienna for inviting me to be part of the GNACC, which is a very new organization. I'm very, I would say I'm very innovative in a way. So I'd like to be part of Sonsiel. That's a very good one. Sonsiel is Society for Entrepreneur, Nurse Scientists, Entrepreneur. I know, right? It's in my top of my head. Business innovators and leaders. I've also checked into the organization called the HIMSS for the nurse informatics. So a lot of them are both technology based or leadership or innovation. So I like those organizations. So my advice is like for me, I'm trying to find which one suits me well. Just join those organizations activities. Joining activities doesn't mean that you're going to be a member right away. You just have to
Mhm.
go in and be invited and see if
Mhm.
that organization fits you. So for now, I after 1 year of lining up the organizations that I've seen, I think I'm gonna be joining more, and you will hear more from me.
All right, thank you. As for me, I'm currently serving as a board treasurer in member of Siena, Society of Internationally Educated Nurses of North America, also member of Sigma Theta Tau. What else? There's too many. AANP. Those are the things that I connect with currently. There's a lot of memberships that I have, but I prioritize those that I can connect with as far as my advocacies are concerned. But guys, let's define professional organizations first. In nurses, according to Matthews in OJIN, I'm sorry, professional organizations and associations in nursing are critical for generating the energy, flow of ideas, and proactive work needed to maintain a healthy profession that advocates for the needs of its clients and nurses and the trust of society. So, Dr. A, let's start with Dr. A. Why do we need to join professional nursing organizations?
So I think there's a lot of reasons, for us to join. And one, I would say one will be professional development. I think with professional organizations, you will have access to continuing education, even some certification programs too. So like, for example, if you're a member of ANA and they have a subsidiary, the ANCC, where you can get some certifications, you can get discounts when you want to go for certifications. Before I was a member of the National League for Nursing as well, which is for nurse educators. And through that, I was able to get my CNE certification. Another I would say would be networking. I mean, like I would not have met, I mean, like I've been following you and Kay through Relifora, but it was also nice to, be working with you in another professional organization like Siena, for example. So networking is definitely one of the benefits and perks of being in a professional organization. And not just that, if you're able to network and you will see people who have been doing your field of specialization, you can ask them to become your mentors too. So I think those are some of the great benefits of being a member of professional organizations.
How about you, Kay?
Yeah, so I agree with Arnold. It brings you a lot of network of people. And for me, as an experienced traveling nurse, where I am right now is not because of what I've learned from myself, but because of other people who I've, welcome into my life, and I try to learn from them. So I would always say the network is your net worth, not only financial, but as well as your net worth when it comes to your education and knowledge and wisdom on things. There will always be tons and ocean of information that you can absorb from other people, and you will see what other people do. Networking, professional development, there's, like Arnold said, mentorship is very important. If you think you know everything, no, not at all. So nobody knows everything. Nobody was born knowing everything. So you will learn from each other, as well as, I would say, the support system. When you come here to the United States or a new country, you don't know anybody that much, and it's very important for us to the hierarchy of needs. What is the hierarchy of needs of a person? Number three, there is belongingness, love and belongingness. We're not looking for people of organization that will love us, but it's actually an opportunity to find those key people who will share the same values, interest, and likes, and you will attach yourself with them. And that's just part of the human needs, is to be part of a organization, or part of a group, or a set of people, because as a human being, we're very social. And I think even the most introvert people, like for me, like I told you, I just stayed in my own case for many years as a traveling nurse, but it didn't mean that I was not part of an organization. I was part of one. And also, it gives me it boosts my self esteem and confidence in doing my job in an efficient way, because I know I'm up to date to those new technology, or new what do you call this, new practice, best practices, because I'm always updated with those AOR and organization that I've been with.
Right. I agree with you both. I think for me, the biggest thing why I joined nursing organizations is networking. So very important that you guys highlighted earlier, for us to be able to connect with people in our same field of specialization, because it opens up a lot of doors for many things, possibly future opportunities, and also collaboration. You might be working on a project, or you will soon be working on a project that you would need guide or mentors or people who've already done that. And there's so much to learn from professional organizations, because it brings in people of the same mind, same field of specialization. I enjoy the talks. I get invited to a lot of talks, but sometimes it's also good to sit back and learn again from your specialization. Doesn't matter if you've been a nurse for 10, 20 years, there's so much to learn. There's new information's always coming out. And you're right, Kay, when you highlighted about best practices. Like last year, I attended AANP conference, and perhaps that's one of the biggest conference that I attended so far. There were more than like 6,000, 7,000 nurse practitioners, and I'm a baby NP, right? I didn't have an NP job back then, but through that organization, that kind of like flame the passion in me to go back to doing NP practice, something like that. But also, you will also gain valuable knowledge as far as new laws or new recommendations, evidence based practice. And yeah, mentors are important. And you find these in the organizations, like Kay and Arnold said. It's really hard to thrive in a profession like nursing. It's such a big profession, and you can narrow it down to your specialty, but then at one point you feel like you've saturated your knowledge, or there's no more room for improvement. But with mentors, you always see new perspective of things, of the way you practice, of the way you advocate for your co-nurses, for the profession, for the community, for the patient. So I think this is where professional organizations are very helpful. And I think Luis said your certifications are another very important topic. We've actually talked about certifications last week, and you're right, this is very important as well. But sometimes we need inspiration and motivation, right? So by joining organizations, our mentors, the people that were in front of us, they kind of like motivate us, and that's how we get information to her. You know what? I want to certify because I'm inspired by these people in the organizations that are all certified, something like that. So sometimes we just need a little push, and joining organizations are probably one way to do it. And Kay, I think highlighted a very important point. You don't have to be a member right away. Try to get your self involved first. See what the organization offers. Is it in line with your professional um, goals or stuff like that? And then you decide. I think most of the organizations always host some kind of town hall meetings or
Yeah.
some networking kind of activities. Join, it. I mean, I know some people are like a little. It's hard for some people to come out of their shell. I think I have that one problem too. But honestly, once you're inside, you feel, you see what the organization is actually going to offer. I think that's one best way to decide which organization you want to join.
I agree. And Paul and Kay, if I may add too, because I just remember this one, I think here in the United States, there's really a lot of movement in terms of the nurses, like we try to speak up. And I guess like that's one benefit too of joining a professional organization. You'll have the platform for your advocacies and having the influence, because a lot of the organizations, including Sienna, for example, like, we are really trying to be part in having that influence in policies for internationally educated nurses, for example. And I would presume like the same with the organizations that you are a member of, or that you are sitting right now, right? Like, so it will give us a seat at the table, which is very important for us
Right.
nurses, to voice out what we have to say, or what we can do to improve and make the lives of our fellow nurses better.
Right, agree with that. And what do you guys think about what are the values at the top of your head, or benefits that we can get from joining nursing professional organizations? Okay.
Well, my first time to attend the Maryland Nurse Association, because we we're just here in Maryland, but I was in New York and New Jersey previously, and I said one of the best benefits is to get free food.
Always, there's always the first one, okay? I love it.
I'm just kidding, but I'm saying like, hey, like Philippine Nurse Association, you don't need to be a Filipino to be part of it. You can be an associate member of it as well.
Mhm.
And if you are, let's say you have a spouse or a friend, or majority of your staff are actually Filipino, it's nice to know their culture as well. So you get connected with some common grounds as well if you're a nurse leader. So that's what I think that will benefit a lot of nurse leaders. If again, if you're hiring a lot of international nurses, might as well be join as an associate member. You don't need to be a real Filipino to be part of it. So that's one thing. The other one is also what benefit that I get from it is, of course, who are the key people. If there are concerns in these topics, who are the key people? A lot of this you will not know, but some people will know someone who can fix your problems. So that one is for me is, if you have problem that you want to solve, join a professional organization. They might not know the answer, but they have connections that will know the answer and help you out. So this is when I started, trying to find answers to for the help for the Filipino or international nursing workforce. Is I went to those key people. I don't know their organizations, but they delivered me to the right organization.
Right. How about you, Dr. A?
I think this is sort of related to what Kay mentioned, but definitely community and belonging is is one of the value of being a part of professional organizations. The great thing about being in a professional organization is, to what you mentioned earlier, Paul, you will have a lot of people maybe with the same mindset but with various experiences and
Yeah.
expertise, and you really get to learn a lot from them. And to what to you know to Kay's point, like, you might not know a lot of stuff, but this connections, this community that you have now might be able to point you out to the right people or to the right community that can, if you have some specific needs. Another value would be, I think, having access to academic and research opportunities too. I've seen a lot of organizations that are really very supportive. If you are into continuing education, they're going to support you with that. There are organizations who have journals, for example, that you can have access to, or that you can publish your works. And
Mhm.
from that perspective, then you can have mentors, expert researchers or something like that, who can help you out if you want to pursue some academic endeavors.
Right. I agree with you both. And for me, at the top of my list is advocacies. So, for example, I joined Siena for that reason and AAMP because I know they are focusing on advancing the profession. And that's very important for me. I'm thankful for all the nurses that have walked before us, for all the nurses who, sat down and said, we can do something. Why don't we form an organization and get it registered and bring nurses with the same mindset together on the table, so we can influence policies, we can influence changes, we can influence evidence-based medicine, we can influence the academic world, or the practice for scholarship works through our organization. So I think that's very helpful. I think for those who founded these organizations, it might have been hard for them because, why do we need to create organizations? I mean, it's 2024 and we're still talking about it, and there's still many nurses out there that are still not part of it. But the value with professional organizations for me at the top of the list is advocacies. That's how I connect to the organization. Is this something that, I have my own personal advocacies for the nursing profession. For example, nurse patient ratios and workplace violence and fair pay and recruitment processes. So I connect with agencies or organizations that I think can connect with my personal goal as a professional nurse. And another example, I joined Sigma for scholarship purpose, because Sigma is one of the honor nursing society, one of the biggest honor nursing society, and they have a lot of resources, people that I can connect to in the scholarly world. So, but that's what's important for me, advocacies. And I think with nurses, even though we are I think I've seen in a lot of forums, physicians are saying nurses are well organized, because some
Right.
states we have unions, nurses have really big PACs and organizations, political action groups or committees or organizations that advance the nursing profession. But, the healthcare is such a complex industry that it keeps getting more complex by the minute. So it doesn't mean that we're organized, that all the problems have been solved already. There's still more problems out there. We can see a lot of nurses leaving the bedside. We can see a lot of nurses having low morale from the profession. We can see a lot of our international nurses just like us getting abused at the bedside. And that's what the organizations are for me. Like, what can we do for these nurses? So I joined them because I know that through my membership fees, through me joining them in my own little way, I'm participating in that cause. Like, I'm helping the organization put the word out there, finance the causes, and just be there to support the organization's goals. So that's what's important for me, why I joined these organizations.
I have a question for Arnold. So you've been in, between you, me, and Paul, you have the more experience when it comes to different
Mhm.
countries. Were you said you were very active as well in the Middle East back then. What are the organizations that you have in Middle East that are very similar to the US?
I would say so. I was a member of the Philippine Nurses Association for the UAE chapter. They are definitely very active, and one of our advocacies there is to help BSN graduates from the Philippines to take the special licensure examination. So like we do review classes for them every weekends. So like a lot of the members who are like nurses already in the UAE would like volunteer their time to teach some of the classes to help their reviews. And another one is the Sigma Theta Tau too. So I was a member of Sigma Theta Tau Phi Gamma chapter, and we do have a lot of, and I guess the good thing about the Phi Gamma chapter is it's a virtual chapter. So like we have a lot of memberships across the world. So like even while I was in the Middle East, I was learning a lot as to what's the best practice, what's the evidence-based
Mhm.
practices across the globe. Because we have a lot of members from the United States too.
That's good. Yep.
Yes. See, how do
Okay.
you, Paul? Are there non-nursing professional organization that both of you are part of?
Currently, I think all my organizations are nursing related. I'm not sure if I have joined anything that's non-related to nurses, but yep, I think I've already joined a lot, so I'm not sure if I can join anything that's
Yeah.
out of nursing, something like that.
The one that I joined when I was in the Middle East, that is not nursing related, was the National Association for Healthcare Quality. So, as a certified professional for healthcare quality, at the time I was really very interested in how quality is being done, because I didn't learn a lot about it when I was in the Philippines, but it was a big thing when I moved into the Middle East, and even here, because like there's a lot of accreditations, and
Mhm.
we really want to make sure that the care that we provide is safe and of high quality. And I did learn a lot, and I guess like you can relate a lot of those the things that I've learned from in AHQ was very much relevant to how we practice nursing too, because it's like, as nurses we really have to make sure that we follow what are the international standards in providing safe and quality care. Other than that, I am not a member of any non-nursing organizations right now, because I think this is the problem. When you become a member of a lot of the organizations, there's also not a problem, but there's a consideration is also the cost, right? Because you would have to pay membership fees. So I guess one of the things that I'm considering now, every time I go into or like would like to become a member of an organization, is this really aligned to what
Mhm.
I want to have or what my advocacies are, right? Because if it's not, then you might just be shedding out your money, and because it for me it doesn't make sense to be a member of an organization and not be an active member of that organization.
That is correct.
I
How about you,
agree with
Ken?
that. It comes with I always say it comes like an operational cost, and you're a
And
Right.
professional. What are your operational costs? That will be
I
your
love it.
BLS, your ACLS,
Yeah,
your
okay. If
Well,
you if you
certification.
have a
operational cost
business, if you have a business, that's a write-off, right? But if you
aside.
don't have a business,
Correct.
that goes out directly from your pocket.
Exactly. That's the thing when I started joining the conferences and I met, joined a lot of organizations this the past 1 year. It falls under my business expense as a
Mhm.
consultant, because as a consultant in a business, so we are entitled for those advancement of knowledge and
Right.
training or certification. So yes, it falls under business expense for education as a business, so it's tax write-off. Anybody there who's thinking of doing the same thing I did, it is again tax write-off for business expenses as a consultant that you can be part of those organization. But I'm not your CPA, I'm not your accountant, so consult your CPA. But I'm just giving you an example, and you can always see this information in the IRS publication that certification membership training organizations can be also be accounted as a business expense. Moving forward, so we are talking about organization. What are the recommended organizations that you're here, Arnold, for the past 2 years,
Right.
and you've exposed yourself to a lot of really American nursing practice.
Hmm.
What will be your top recommendations in your end that you think that aligns to your values and goals?
So before I answer that, Kay, I'd like to just maybe share some points in terms of how I chose
Mhm.
professional organizations. And very quickly, as I mentioned earlier, one of the main consideration will always be professional relevance. Like, it needs to be related to what I do. And like you, for example, you wanted to join SONCL because you are an innovator, an entrepreneur, and then Paul ANP because he's a nurse practitioner. So for me as a nurse educator, I'm joining the National Consortium for Academic Nurse Educator, and as an IEN, I am joining Sienna as well because I know that I can have some advocacies in there. Um, Membership benefits are another consideration because you're going to be paying for something. At least you have to get something as well, right? Networking opportunities, having the advocacy and influence. So those are some of the major things that I consider before I join. And in terms of what are the associations that I can recommend, well, at least for the ones that I will only recommend the ones that I've tried, of course. One of the main organization that I would highly recommend, especially for internationally educated nurses who are here in the United States, will be the Society of Internationally Educated Nurses in North America. And this organization is not just in North America. I think we extend beyond Canada and even across the globe too, actually, because we can have international ambassadors. Other organizations would be, if you have some local organizations like the PNA in your the Philippine Nurses of America with your chapter in your area, that can also be a good source. If you're a Filipino anyway, and if you're from another nationality, I would presume that there's other national specific organizations, because it can be a nice community for you, like having what Kay mentioned earlier, having the food. Like, I don't cook, so it's so nice to be meeting with my Filipino nurses because I get free food all the time. Um, I would also recommend, if you're in America, American Nurses Association, and the local chapter will also be a good resource for you because they also provide like CE benefits, like especially if you want to maintain your licensure here in the United States. And yeah, again, it will be whatever is related to your specialty. I would recommend that explore those organizations because they will be beneficial for you in that field.
How about you, Paul, as a critical care nurse and as well as an ER and DNP? What are the organizations that you think that fit your specialty?
Yeah, I think I agree with Arnold. When choosing a organization, I think if you're having a hard time of choosing which organizations you want to join first, because there's a lot of options, to be honest, you can start with your specialty. So for me, for example, as an ER nurse, I would join ENA, right? Because they have conferences, it's a very fun organizations. But like Arnold said, as I move further into my career, sometimes organizations can also be cost prohibitive, and sometimes you realign yourself to a different goal as you advance. So now I'm more active with AANP and the Texas Nurse Practitioner because we still have a political fight. We're advocating for laws here in Texas as far as healthcare is involved and nurse practitioners are involved. So that's what I'm active with right now. But definitely, I'd start with your specialty, or if not your specialty, your advocacies. So, for example, I also joined Sienna because we've been doing shows. K for this I started doing my show back in 2022 while I was still in Hawaii, and 2 years later we're still doing it. I'm happy that we're still doing it. Looking back, it was such also a an eye opener for me and also a good experience to be doing this. It's hard to come up with a show every week, but I honestly love what we're doing for the community. I honestly love what we did with Lefora Filipino Nurses Facebook group. We now have 220,000 members. Some of our co-admins are here. I love that. I didn't know that coming to the US would open so much doors for me, not only professionally for myself, but also I didn't realize that I was going to be using my story to be inspiring nurses and to be also advocating for them. So I think I found my purpose when I joined Lefora. So I said, you know what? It's time to take this advocacies out of Lefora into, a national level, to a state level. And that's why I joined Siena as well. So those are my two recommendations. Start with your specialty. In my case, I do AANP and TNP. And then I also have Siena because I'm advocating for international educated nurses like you and me, guys. And also, if that's not, if that's still not enough for you to decide which organizations you want to join, try some Facebook group. Ask your friends, hey, which organizations do you guys go to? Can I join your dinner? Can I see how it looks like, how it feels like? Or maybe you can invite me. Like I said, you don't have to commit right away. You can get a feel first, but look for local organizations. And if so, some people would say, I'm tired of being a nurse, I want to join other organizations. You're not. Healthcare is big. We're not only talking about nursing and healthcare. Like Arnold is another organization that's not nursing, but still within the healthcare field. So try to look beyond that and see other professional organizations that can help you advance with your advocacies and professional growth as well. How about you, Kay?
Well, I think there's one organization that I want to join, but I don't know if there is actually an organization for it. The organization for Jake Surveyor or CMS Surveyor.
Well, let's
That's a
register that in
Is there an organization?
legalzoom.com.
If you
Let's
know any
register an
organization
organization.
of surveyor membership, hey, sign me in. Like, I've been a traveling nurse. I know where you hide things, right? I know where you hide your cups, right? So I'm just kidding, but it's something for me when I did not know what I want to do except for OR nursing, right? And to retire young and early. So I actually putting myself into a situation where I started following people in LinkedIn.
Mhm.
So I started looking at who are the top people that I look up to. So if you're kind of lost, I recommend you starting with that. Look at the people, follow them, look at their posts and see if these are the top people that you want you know to follow. It's not like you're following exactly their path, but you can look into their profile in LinkedIn and see what are these people's organization. Where did they used to work? Were they part of a board member or were they volunteers of a specific organization? And be curious when you see something in their LinkedIn profile. Be curious and check out those organizations that's listed on their LinkedIn profile because those can help you and actually give a broader sense of what are the organization out there. There's a lot that I did not know existed when I tried to follow LinkedIn people. One that I am very interested right now is like the Commission for Nursing Reimbursement.
right.
For me, when after my journey as a travel nurse, why travel nurses are compensated on a different scale than a regular staff. Travel nurses, they don't have that specific like level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4 pay. So there are values that are involved on being a travel nurse. And I said, after analyzing it, well, it makes sense. Hospitals or your employers will never invest on something that they always think it's a liability. If nurses are considered as part of the expense, then the main goal there is to cut the expense, right? And that's where we have short staffing. As for me, I think I believe in that value and mission that putting values on what nurses bring into the table is very important. So for me, I think the commission of reimbursement is a very game changer. And I said, I want to be part of it. So that's one thing. I'm not the nurse informatics. I'm My background is again, I went for my nursing education and OR. But why is informatics was something very interested with me? So it's because it's the technology. It will always be helpful for us and will make our work efficient. So even if I'm not a informatics, I really want to join HIMSS, that group, because healthcare informatics is where your innovative technology will blend in with healthcare. So again, look at before you jump into anything, try to look at the profile of the company, of the organization. Look at the values and mission of the organization. When we're in the hospital, there's a saying, if we pass into that hallway, then you will see the mission vision of the hospital, but nobody really pays attention. But when you join specific organization, professional organization, it really matters. What are the mission and vision of this organization? Do you have the same values? As for me, a successful organization is a group of people who share the same common value. If you're not on the same page, you're not going to be happy with it. Trust me. And there's also a misconception that a lot of our nurse frontliners, they don't join organization because they said, oh, it's very political. It's too much politics, or all they do is socialization. Then I realized that after putting myself into those events is no, actually there's a lot of committees involved in one organization. It might be one organization, but this committee are focusing on human rights. This committee is focusing on charitable or what do you call this one, when they do free medical mission. There is a committee that is involved on advancement of education. So you can be active in organization, not as a whole, but on that specific committee that aligns your value. And that's, it's an eye opener for me that for all many years I said I'm not going to join those organization because it's just politics. It's another set of like how hospital nursing leadership is. It's just politics, right? But then it changed my mind when I opened my mind and I put myself into there and stop listening to hearsay or he say. You put yourself into there and you see yourself, and you will realize that there is actually more into those organizations than what's being shared around in the front line, that oh, it's just politics. All right, so that's my 2 cents there in those people who are hesitant to join organization. Again, look into the mission and vision and advocacies of the organization and see if this is something that will interest you. And if it interests you, join an event. You don't have to be a member, just join it and look at the committees that they do.
Right. And I think one of the things I want to add, Kay, is once they've become a member of the organizations that they're eyeing, join committees. Committees are small groups inside organizations that have specific functions. And those committees are actually fun. You learn a lot more that way because you narrow your focus on certain things or functions. And also, if you can serve as an officer or committee member, committee leader, you can also do that. But it's about time that we bring in all our experiences collectively to join these organizations. I know some people are caught up with I'm already busy as a nurse. I don't have time
Mhm.
for this, for that. But like what I've shared many times in this show in the past, um, a lot of nurses are still stuck in what I call the bedside mentality, where we think that all we do as nurses is to stay bedside with patients. But there's not going to be any change or improvement in practice if we get stuck in bedside. Right? We're not going to be able to advocate properly for our patients, for the safety of our patients, for our patient ratios, for our workload. We're not going to be able to unionize. We're not going to be able to advocate for our for ethical recruitment and contracts for nurses, if we are not part of these organizations or actually working hard to fight for these advocacies. So it's about time that we offer our time, we volunteer our time for organizations that will not only benefit us personally but also will benefit the nursing profession in general. How
And
about you,
I'd like
Dr.
to
Ray?
add there, Paul, that
Oh,
a lot of hospitals are actually paying for those
yeah.
organizations.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a benefit. So if you're part of the hospital that do or if you don't know, I'd recommend you inquiring to your HR. Inquire to your HR because you joining an organization and somebody's paying for it. I think
Mhm.
that's a no-brainer. And
Exactly.
you're going to be getting a lot of resources and benefits from joining an organization that you didn't even have to pay for. So I recommend everyone watching, if you're a new foreign nurse into the United States, a lot of HR hospital systems or organization will pay for it. So inquire to your HR. Don't leave those things under, on the table, because again, it affects your pay. It's part of your benefit, it's part of your compensation, and you have the right to ask for those.
Right.
Yeah, and I
Okay.
think I'd like to echo both of what you've mentioned, because to your point, like sometimes when I started in the United States, like initially I also have this internalized bias that, oh my god, I'm not good enough to be joining organizations and stuff
Mhm.
like that, and I'm too shy to be talking with other people who are very well accomplished, in their fields. But then I've realized really that, the more you get to know these people who are like part of this organization, especially like for example, the board of directors, you will realize how passionate they are with what they do, and that they are really into helping and doing something, not just for themselves, but but for the organizations and the profession itself. So, um, to Gay's point, like even if you don't want to become a full member yet, just explore. When we have some open days, like virtual events that are for free, feel free to join so that you'll see what the organizations are doing, how are they advocating for the nurses and our fellow professionals, especially if they're specializing in specific areas, because you will really see how, for me, I've really seen how amazing it is to be working with this individuals with various expertise, and seeing how dedicated they are in sharing their time, and advocating for something that is beyond the bedside. To Paul's point, like as nurses, we should not. And I respect all the nurses who love the bedside nursing. I love bedside nursing too, but we can do more, and we can do more by being members of these professional organizations and by advocating, for the nurses who are working at the bedside and the specific specialties.
Yeah, if you
Right.
have like plans to move forward and advance your education, especially those people coming into a new country, it is highly recommended really to be part and volunteer yourself, put some volunteer time, because it helps your boost your resume and your competitiveness too in applying to those positions that are on the level, on the leadership or ladder. So volunteering your time as well as you're learning something, I think it's a win-win situation for a person that is trying to gain more experience here in the United States. Like Arnold, look at you, you're only here for 2 years and look where you are now. Paul, how many years you've been here? 7 years,
7 years.
7 years, and look where you guys are, and look at me, I've been here for
Where
a
you,
long
look at where
time.
you are right now. Okay.
I'm
Right.
still here.
Yeah.
I'd like, yeah,
Sorry. No,
I'd like to, yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, go
Oh,
for it, Arnold.
I was about to comment on that, Paul. What
Yeah.
Louise mentioned, the imposter
Yes.
syndrome can be very real for many of us. As I said, I have an internalized bias. When I was working in the Middle East, like I was always told that I was not good enough. I will not,
Mhm.
I was not the right fit. I didn't have the right education and training. And sometimes that can get into your mind. If you're coming from a different country and then moving into the States where like people are so enthusiastic with their professions and like in advocating for something, sometimes you will feel like, oh my god, like I don't think I'm a good fit for this organization. I don't think I have the right to be a member of this organization. Please know that you do have the right. Like you carry with you your expertise, your experience, your education and
Mhm.
qualification, and that is enough actually to add on to the pool of expertise and knowledge in that organization that will help advance your fellow nurses.
Yeah, I think I agree with Luis and Arnold. Um, imposter syndrome is something that I've always felt, but I never really heard the term
Mhm.
until I was in DNP school. First day in our DNP school, we had a little, on our first day of the class, very first day, May 31st, 2018, I remember. We had a little icebreaker and team building stuff because we're going to be in class for 3 to 4 years. And we read an article. Of course, what other better way to open a DNP class but to read an article on the first day, right? And give your analysis of the article. It was actually about imposter syndrome, and we broke up in little groups. I told him, you know what? I didn't know there was a term for what I was feeling, and I thought it was an individual experience. It's actually an experience everyone goes through
Mhm.
in the professional world. As you advance, you always tend to look at yourself introvertedly and say, I think I'm not good enough. I think I'm not in the same league as these people, or I think I don't have enough experience to share. But honestly, guys, it is what can pull you down and
Right.
prevent you from progressing further. I would say go out of your shell. Imposter syndrome is real, and it's really everybody knows about this. Be open to your mentors. I'm feeling a little imposter syndrome. I feel like I'm not a good fit here, and let them talk to you, and so they can actually tell you your value in the profession. I think every nurse is valuable, regardless of our background or our level of experience, our specialty. It is what makes these organizations actually a really good community, because we bring in different backgrounds and expertise into the table so we all can collaborate and do something good for the profession. So while imposter syndrome is real, do not let that stop you from
Agree.
actually putting yourself out there and volunteering yourself out there and joining these professional organizations, because you can do so much more. All of us have so much potential, but those are just going to be potential if you don't use it. So it's kind of like potential energy versus kinetic energy in science. So we have to use that and convert that into action so we can actually do something good for ourselves and for our profession. So, yep, don't let imposter syndrome stop you. I've been a nurse for 16 years, 17 years. I've been teaching NCLEX for 16 years, and I still wake up every time and say, am I good enough to teach these nurses?
Mhm.
Am I going to inspire someone today? Am I good enough to actually for these nurses to look up to me like this? So there are always those struggles. It is normal. Everybody feels it. You're not the only one. And that's what the organization is for. We want to tell you that this is a human experience and we're here for you because we also experience the same, but we're going to come together to make something good for the community.
Right.
I I probably have that for a long time. The That's why I just stayed where I was, because I said, I don't think I'm a good leader. I'm very introvert. I don't like to talk to anyone. That's why I'm in the OR. We barely talk to patients because I don't think
They're
my
asleep.
English was good enough. I don't think I converse well enough to other professionals, and I'm always surrounded by surgeons, anesthesiologists, and I'm like, I don't think I'm, that high of a caliber professional. So I've always thought of that, and I'm pretty sure a lot of nurses are, frontliners are feeling that, especially the most experienced frontliners. So there has always been like that, and it what made me come out of the shell was when there was a need, when I saw the passion. Okay, I said, my passion is to help, my passion is to teach, but I don't want to come out, but I really want to do it. So
Mhm.
I've asked one random person, like, I don't know this person, I don't know where she lives, I don't know where she I just met her on Facebook, and I said, do me a favor. I'm gonna teach you, I'm gonna mentor you, and I'm gonna pay you $200.
Oh,
That's my incentive. I said, just give me a feedback for 3 hours that we're going to talk. That's our pay rate. $200 for 3 hours. And that's all I needed to do. That's all I needed. And after that, I was able to get out and, join Lefora and start talking in Lefora and started my travel nurse hacker. And all I needed was that. My investment of $200. And what is the return? It was way exponential of more than that. So if you feel like you're, like me before, I was introvert. I don't want to talk to people. I don't feel confident. What is investing something that will make you confident? Invest in education, do some training, do some again, there's a lot of organization who's actually doing those webinars for free, right?
Mhm.
So join them, because the more knowledge you have is equivalent to the confidence that you're gonna boost, for you to join this organization. I said, I don't think I'm good enough to be part of this CGFNS Alliance. I'm like, look at all the board members. I'm like, ANA, AONL, Hospital Association, and the top CEO, or the president of the companies, of the staffing companies. I'm like, what am I doing there? Right? What will I put into the table? I have no idea, but I didn't realize that there are information that I know and they didn't know. And then we share knowledge and we become, uh, we create a good education environment, learning environment. So, key points, Arnold. What will be your last words, for this? What are the key learnings from this?
I would say one of the key learnings, I guess, in relation to joining professional organizations is really go back to your why. Understand what are you very passionate about. Because to your point, Kay, like if you're very passionate about it, sometimes initially you might be a bit shy, but because you know that you're very passionate and committed about what you want to do for that specialty or for nursing, then you will have the courage to really step up and speak up and bring your seat at the table, that this is what I want to do, this is what I love doing. And with that, it will help develop you as a nurse and as a professional, and hopefully eradicate the imposter syndrome, because um since that is your passion, you know more about it. And sometimes when you're passionate about something, of course, like it's you will not feel like I don't know anything about this, because you've researched or done some uh, studying on that field.
Mhm.
Another thing is when you are a member, or if you want to join a professional organization, make sure that you actively be a part of it. It's not just enough to pay for membership fees and not even join anything. Like to Paul's point earlier, join the committees or serve in the board or whatever you can do, um, because that is how you will gain from the organization. It's not really just the
Mm.
benefits of like getting that scholarship, getting the awards or something like that, but knowing that you contributed something. You've shared your ideas for the betterment, not just of the organization, but for the betterment of the nurses that are being served by this organization.
Thank you very much for that, Arnold. Paul, what will be your
I think.
best
Uh,
advice?
Hi, Dr. Farah. Farah is joining us on LinkedIn.
Oh,
Hello.
hi, Farah.
Yes,
Hi.
we're gonna acknowledge our viewers later, because I
Yes.
think there's so many viewers that's commenting today. But to your question, Kay, I think I've shared a lot today, but I want to tell nurses that you are valuable. Your background, your experience, use that as an inspiration and motivation to future nurses. Maybe, by joining these organizations, you bring these things at the table, and we can have a new perspective of your experiences, of what we can do to make the nursing experience better, especially for us internationally educated nurses. We're moving to a new country with a new whole set of culture, and we're bringing different accents and different background and different nursing curriculum and practice. Maybe we can learn something from you as well by bringing yourself at the table, and we can have a new perspective so we can effect change and improvements into the practice. But don't let introversion, or whatever we call it, imposter syndrome, pull you back, but actually come out of your shell and join nursing organizations. If you haven't found your nursing organizations yet, or what you want to join, we've shared a lot of um, organizations today, but you can actually start with your field of experience or specialty and start from there. Join organizations, go to their websites, see what they're advocating for, see what their programs are. A lot of these organizations are not only here to advocate politically, but they also have scholarship programs. They also have webinars and continuing education resources. There are also conferences where you learn evidence-based medicine and practice based on your specialization, and free mentorship programs and collaborations, like we said, your projects, your future research, or whatever quality improvement project you're working for your organization or hospitals, or what facilities you're working for. There are so many things to learn from these organizations, and I think they're very valuable. I think it is imperative for nurses to have at least one professional organization that they belong to. And with that, Kay and Arnold, because of my passion for advocating for international educated nurses, I just want to plug Siena Society of Internationally Educated Nurses in North America has only been in existence for 1 year. Me, Arnold, and many other boards, we are the founding members, founding directors as well. And we are doing so much very, very slowly, but getting there. We're making impact in our own little way. But we want this organization to be a home for internationally educated nurses. We want this organization to be the organization that represents all of us, that, brings us at the table with all these key conversations about policies, about improving nursing experience in general, but also putting into perspective the experience of immigrant nurses who are already going through a lot, and still has to like adapt to the nursing environment here in the US. So we want to be these organization that will advocate for you guys, but of course we can only do so much. There is power in numbers. So I would
Agree.
formally invite everyone, our international educated nurses, my followers in Dr. Nurse Paul, to please join us. I'm also a chair of policy committee, and I chose that committee. I mean, I'm still a member of other committees, but I chose that committee because that's the committee that's closest to my heart. Just like what Kay is advocating for, I want to make sure that our immigrant nurses are not being trafficked, are not being abused when they get here. There's not going to be a bait and switch type of contracts. We formed the GNAC, the Global Nursing Accreditation Council, who eventually will start working on accrediting organizations that are recruiting nurses or certified nurses that are
Yes.
influential in creating
Yes.
policies for immigrant nurses. And we have so much on the table for my policy committee. We're going to open up legal services eventually. We're going to open up mentorship and collaboration to our education committee. And I think I'll give the floor to Arnold to talk about all our other projects in Siena.
Yeah. So, Paul, I think you've mentioned everything already, but yeah, I just would like to re-echo that. You know, we are inviting everyone, internationally educated nurses. You don't have to be in North America and Canada because we also have international ambassadors. I personally believe that being part of Siena has been very enriching. I think learning a lot from different colleagues from different countries too, coming to the United States. There's really a vast pool of knowledge and experience in there. This organization that you can leverage on, and I'm the chair of the education committee, and we really work very hard as well to make sure that we have educational offerings with CE accreditations to help educate the different specialties of internationally educated nurses across the globe. So another thing that we are definitely, and I'm not so sure if I'm allowed to plug this in, but we are working on our journal too. So for those who are
I'm so excited
in,
for it.
yeah, who are into
Mhm.
scholarships and in the academic field, feel free to also explore that because you can eventually publish through our journal. But we're gonna have a different conversation on that. And then, yeah, I think all of the things that you mentioned, Paul, are definitely perks of being a member of Siena, and of course, like mentorship, which is very important. Again,
Mhm.
a lot of our members and a lot of the people who sit in the board are actually experts in their own fields too, so you can tap them for mentorship. If you want to learn something about policy, for example, there's Paul, K for business innovation and stuff like that.
Yes.
These are some of the things that you can leverage when you join CN and other organizations as well.
It's
Right.
awesome. Doing a great job, and just want to congratulate you both for a great. It's been only a year, but Sienna's making big waves for the international nursing workforce and to the field as well. There is a misconception that when you join organization, these are only for people who have masters or you want to go for a doctorate. So this is to clear everyone. I'm not even a master's degree or a doctor's degree, right? And I would say it's open for everyone. You will learn so much even without those degrees. You don't need those degrees to be part of the
Right.
of this organization. And when I joined these organizations, I never felt like, oh, you're just an RN or you just BSN, oh, we are DNP or we're doctorate or we're
Mm.
masters, right? So, or we're PhD. So there's no such thing as that. When you join the organization that you're passionate about, those degrees doesn't matter. What matters is your same values that you share and same passion that you share, and those what is
Right.
matter. Because the
Right.
people who are in the front line, or if you're not advanced degrees, your information is very valuable to those people as well. You guys will share the knowledge, what's in the front line and what's not in the front line, and you share those knowledge together. So thank you, everyone. Sienna is very important to join, especially when you are a new immigrant coming to the United States. I can see the value in this from far away because when you come into the new country, you will be acquainted with so many different cultures. And one of the main thing there, why I survive as being a traveling nurse and being flexible with mixing or blending in with the society is because I was actually I joined organization that actually has diversity.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
like
Right.
diversity.
Very
And
important.
when you join organization that has diversity, it will open up your mind and you'll be culturally sensitive. And not only
Mhm.
that, it's a lot of learning ground, when it comes
Mhm.
to other people's nationality, values, and beliefs. And especially when you have a patient coming in that's different nationality as yours. So it will help your practice as well.
Right.
So I see the value in having an international group to be
Yeah.
coming in to a new country and join them. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for
Eh,
both of
I,
you.
I just want to address Dr. Farah's question. She said, I want to be part of it. There's definitely a space for you and for
Yes.
everyone. So if you're interested, we're going to flash the website here, siennanursing society.org. We need more people. There's power in numbers. We need all your experiences and your backgrounds to contribute to the growth of our organization. It's for everyone, whether you're an immigrant nurse or not. There's different membership options, and I think we're gonna probably have a promo for the Nurses Week. But anyway, Nurses Week starts tomorrow, guys. So happy Nurses Week.
Yeah.
Yeah, happy nurse this week.
I just would like to
And
plug. I think we are still looking for board members.
yes,
If that has closed yet, but if not, like for those who are interested, we would like to invite everyone who'd like to sit in the board of directors to apply, so that we can again bring our seats to the table and advocate for
right.
our nurses.
And
Yeah,
okay, let's just acknowledge some
yeah,
viewers.
members. Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
Harold.
yeah, can I give some shout outs? If you
Of
don't
course,
mind,
of
I'd like to give
course.
some shout outs to my friends who are watching right now. Harold from the Middle East, and then we have Davina, and then RJ, one of my friends here in Boston, and our community here in Massachusetts. And then who else? Farah, of course, and Luis. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. And my sister in the Middle East too, Beverly. Thank you so much for watching.
All right, and
yeah,
I want to read
Dr.
this,
Farah. Dr. Farah,
Doctor.
thank you for bringing out the Nurse in Business organization, National Nurses in Business Association. So, like I said, this nursing organization is not just for advancement of your nursing degrees or professional, but it's as well as if you like business, then there's a lot of nursing organization for that. And one of them is an NBA. I've read into this, I followed them as well. Not a member yet, but I'm still, I'm very picky in choosing my friends or choosing the organization. I'm very picky. But I think it's very important to be that, be open-minded and just see what they're doing. And if it meets your expectations and your values, just then join them, right?
Right. She
Yeah,
also
who
said
else in
about
there?
yeah, Canadian Black Nurses Alliance. She is a mentor for them, so you guys can join this as well. And Farah has her own podcast. Maybe we can invite her in one of the topics that we're going to talk about
Yay,
here. Okay,
exactly,
Dr.
right?
Farah,
Yeah,
sending the
Farah, let's do
invitation
it.
out there. We want to invite you in our one of our podcasts shows. And thank you, everyone. Happy Nurses Week. Thank you for sharing your experience, Dr. A. K. Any last words before we end the show?
Be open-minded. you when you open your mind and your ears and your eyes, you don't have to you don't have to practice everything or join everything, but be open-minded, use your critical thinking, what's best for you, and then you adapt to it.
Yeah, from me, thank you so much for that, Kay. For me, believe in yourself and believe in your value. Do not be limited by the limiting beliefs of others. You are capable and you are empowered.
Right. And before I give my
Wow.
last words, I would just want to address this from JM. He said, how to be a member of your organization and a specific requirement. There is no specific requirement. As long as you're passionate about
Mhm.
and connect with our goals, you are welcome. Everybody's welcome. Again, the website is siennanursing.society.org. And for my last words, I actually want to use this as a call to action for everybody. This is my challenge for you for the Nurses Week, all right? Research an organization that aligns with your goals and your advocacies and join them this Nurses Week. I think that's the best that we can do for our nursing profession. But yeah, join and get yourself involved. That's it. Thank you guys for joining the show today. Thank you, Dr. AK. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nurse Paul and Kay. Have a nice.
Thanks, Arnold, and hope to see you soon in Boston.
Yes, please let me know
Yes.
when you're here. And
Oh
Dr.
my
P
God.
too.
I think I need to move to the East Coast because I'm way over here in the South.
No, no, no,
I'm too
you're
far.
good. You're
I'm
good in
too far from
Texas.
everyone else. All my friends are like in East Coast and West Coast, and I'm over here, of course.
No, no,
But
no. We like you there. We like you there, Paul. We
this is
love you
something
from
the
afar.
South.
We love you from afar, love it.
No, we need to have a show live with all of us together in
I
one
know, it will be
room.
amazing.
Yeah, it would be amazing. Let's talk about that soon. But Kay, our show next week.
Next week special. Who is gonna be our special next special guest for next week? It's gonna be
Surprise.
special. Surprise, surprise. So join us next
And
week.
yeah,
Don't forget.
watch out. I'm gonna give out free NCLEX reviews next week on the raffle.
Wow.
So we'll see you guys next week. Happy Nurses Week, everyone. Thank you
Happy
for watching.
Happy
Thank you
Nurses
for
Week.
watching DNP Unlocked. Happy Nurses Week.
Okay. Bye bye.